record. All right, so go and find a comfortable seat at your mat. Get settled over here as well. And so you may want to find a seat on a block or a pillow, a blanket, if sitting flat on the ground isn't feeling comfortable at this moment. Or maybe kneeling on a block underneath the sits bones with the ankles kind of hugging in a little bit. Yeah, so wherever you are, just settling into that comfortable seat. If you are sitting cross-legged or in an easy seat with one foot in front of the other, just I'll cue you about halfway through the time we're sitting to switch. It's important to kind of even out, and you'll probably feel it in your hips if you're sitting with one foot in front for too long. So wherever you are, starting to align your spine with the earth-sky axis, so sitting up nice and tall, grounding down in any areas that are making contact with the earth beneath you. And you can let your hands just rest on the top of your thighs or your knees, or maybe bringing hands to baby space. As we settle in here, starting to downshift a little bit, focusing on the breath before we get into our movement. If you'd like, you can gently blink the eyes closed, or maybe bring them to a soft gaze somewhere other than the screen. Give your eyes a break from the screen. And start to settle in and notice the breath. Maybe noticing the sound as you inhale through the nostrils, or maybe noticing the chest expanding, belly filling up. And then noticing the exhale as belly relaxes and softens. Noticing anywhere where you can soften in the body. So bringing your attention to the muscles in the face, around the eyes, relaxing the forehead, unclenching the jaw, allowing the lips to part slightly, tongue to relax, shoulders just melt away from the ears. Taking this time to start to connect the body with the mind using the breath. Noticing any other areas of the body that you can soften, maybe unclenching any muscles around the glutes or the hips. Relaxing the toes and the fingers. And starting to lengthen and deepen the breath, cultivating that Ujjayi pranayama, that gentle sifting of the breath past the back of the throat. So as you inhale through the nostrils, creating that ocean-like sound, and as you exhale, send the breath out through the nostrils, starting to make the breath a little audible. Imagining as you inhale, filling up the lungs and sending the breath down to your baby. And on the inhale, relaxing the pelvic floor. Maybe the pelvic floor makes contact with whatever is beneath you. And then as you exhale, contracting the pelvic floor, hugging around baby. Let's take a couple more breaths here. Setting any intentions for your practice this evening, for your pregnancy, for your birth even. Maybe taking a moment to connect to baby, send a message of loving gratitude and kindness to baby as you take this time to nourish the body, mind, spirit connection. If you have one foot in front of the other in an easy seat, just gently switch those feet now. Settle in, readjust the sits bones. And we're going to take some time to practice do some breath work that can be really beneficial during labor, during childbirth, and just in life in general. And it's just a variation of a B breath. We're going to do some humming on the exhale. So as you inhale, just fill up all the way, taking a deep inhale. And then on the exhale, seal the lips and hum a nice low tone. Inhale. Exhale, hum. Inhale. And exhale. Do 2 more breaths at your own pace, just like that, practicing that deep inhale and then the hum on the exhale. Finding that nice low tone. Those low tones, those low sounds are beneficial for opening up and relaxing the pelvic floor, the cervix during labor and delivery. And so after those 2 breaths, just come back, return to that Ujjayi pranayama. Maybe blinking the eyes open if they aren't already. And we're going to meet in a tabletop position, so hands and knees. So removing any props that you may have been sitting on, blanket, blocks, pillows, and then finding your way into hands and knees. And as always, in any of these postures, hands and knees, and downward facing dog, you can always prop the hands up on blocks, or maybe bring a blanket under the wrist if you're experiencing any carpal tunnel or wrist discomfort. Or maybe a blanket under the knees if that feels appropriate for you today. And so wherever you are, looking down at the space between your hands, spreading fingertips nice and wide, stacking shoulders over the wrists and the hips over the knees. And start to hug in around baby. So when I say hug in, kind of imagining pulling belly button towards the spine, the abdominal wall hugs around baby. Nice and active here. Pressing the shins into the floor beneath you, the tops of the feet into the floor, so you can kind of get some extra activation there, some energy shifting. We're going to move into cat and cow tilt. So on your next inhale, start to tilt the pelvis, hips, heart, and head lift. And as you exhale, hug around baby, curve the spine, chin to chest, cow tilt. Cat tilt. Inhale, cow tilt, hips, heart, and head lift. Exhale, cat tilt. Inhale. And exhale, chin to chest. Keep moving with your breath. As you inhale, hips, heart, and head lift. And as you exhale, tuck the chin towards chest, tailbone drops. Continue moving with your breath, almost as if the spine is creating a wave-like shape. So initiating the movement from the pelvis, and then allowing the last thing to fall into the posture is the crown of your head. Starting to ease the hips, ease the low back, and continuing to hug around baby. So not coming too far into that, that cow tilt, still keeping control over the abdominal wall. One more like this. And then we're going to move into some hip circles. So staying here moving with the breath, but now we're going to move the hips and the head towards the right and circle around. And as we exhale, coming down into that cat tilt. So just moving with your breath, finding your flow, what feels good for you this evening. Just adding that different dimension of movement to our cat and cow. As you inhale, hips, heart, and head lift. And as you exhale, hips, heart, and head drop, chin to chest, hug around baby. One more in this direction. And then when you come back to your cat tilt, switch to the opposite direction. So circle the hips and head towards the left. Maybe the eyes close here, finding your flow, your intuitive movement. One more circle in this direction. And then come back to a neutral spine. And then bring the knees to the edges of the mat. So bring them nice and wide, toes together. Sit your hips back to your heels, child's pose. So if you're feeling a little tight in the back, you can always roll up that towel or blanket and place it underneath the hips here. You can bring hands up to blocks or to the mat. Maybe bringing a pillow underneath the chest if you'd like to keep the chest lifted. Lots of options here. Or maybe bringing the forehead to stacked hands. Wherever you are, start to relax the belly, relax the pelvic floor. Aware that you're breathing in and aware that you're breathing out. All right, coming back up to tabletop, so pressing the hands into the floor, coming to that tabletop position, hugging in around baby. Extend the right leg to the back of the mat, tuck the toes under, and just start to rock back and forth here. So you may feel some ankle cracking and popping, some awakening here. Just gentle rocks back and forth. And then when you're ready, coming to stillness. Again, hugging around baby, hips stacked over knee. And we're gonna come into sunbird. So extend the opposite arm forward, that left hand forward. You can stay here with the toe at the mat, or hug around baby, start to lift that right leg up, sunbird. If you have that leg lifted, continuing to hug around baby, nice and active pose, strong belly, strong back, strong arm. Bringing the inner thighs in towards the midline here. And you want to send energy from those fingertips all the way to the heel. One more breath here. And release down to the mat, hand to mat, foot down, and come back to tabletop. Maybe just wag the tail side to side here. Yeah. All right, other side. So extend the left foot to the back of the mat. Again, tucking the toes under, taking a moment, a couple breaths to rock back and forth here. Start to awaken the left leg, the ankle, toes. All right, finding stillness here. So shoulders stacked over wrists, fingertips spread wide. You can stay with that foot on the ground, extend the right hand forward this time. And then if you'd like, start to lift the left leg sunward. Hugging around baby. Deep breaths here, aware that you're breathing in and aware that you're breathing out. Pressing that left hand into the mat, one more breath. And then bring the hand and foot down to the mat, coming to tabletop, wag the tail side to side. And then when you're ready, tuck the toes under, lift the hips, finding your first downward facing dog. So as you arrive here in downward facing dog, maybe you'd like to pedal out the feet or bend and straighten the knees. Spreading fingertips wide. And noticing your down dog, you may have your feet spread a little bit wider than you're used to accommodate for growing baby. Maybe the knees stay slightly bent. If you're feeling tight in the hamstrings. Wherever you are, start to untuck the tailbone. So the tailbone is lifting up towards the ceiling, pressing fingertips into the mat, clawing the fingertips into the mat to keep the shoulders stable. You almost like you're pressing the mat away from you with your hands. Good, let's take 2 more breaths here. And again, you can always bring the hands to blocks if you'd like to keep the chest lifted a little bit more. All right, start to walk the hands to the back of the mat, finding your forward fold. So again, feet may be spread nice and wide, almost to the width of your mat if that feels good. You can bring blocks underneath hands or a pillow. If you want to keep the hands lifted, that can feel nice to allow for more space for baby. Or maybe hands out and downward facing dog, arms just up the mat. A nice bend in the knee, continuing to lift the tailbone up. Imagining that the sacrum, the low back is nice and broad, and you want to increase the surface area there. One more breath here, maybe releasing the neck, shaking it yes and no. All right, inhale, halfway lift, hands come to shins. Exhale, hands to hips, hug around baby. Inhale, rise up to stand. And as you exhale, firm the thighs, tailbone anchors down. Inhale, circle the arms down, around and up overhead. And as you exhale, bring the hands down through the midline, and then bring them to baby. Taking 3 breaths here. As you exhale, hugging around baby, toning the pelvic floor in and up. All right. From here, we're going to go into some side bends. So I want you to hook the thumbs, kind of making a W shape with your hands. As you inhale, lifting up, extending the arms overhead, and then exhale, side bend to the right. Keeping the heels grounded evenly. So if you start to feel that left heel creep up, just come back, ground it down. Feeling the opening on the left side body from the underarm all the way to the hip. One more breath here. Keep anchoring that tailbone down. And then coming back up, releasing the hands, maybe shaking it out, and then bringing the opposite thumb in front this time. So hook the thumbs just the opposite way, other side. Inhale, sending the arms overhead. And as you exhale, side bend to the left. And continuing to anchor the tailbone down. Grounding both heels evenly into the floor. Feeling the side bend on the right. Hugging around baby, one more breath. And coming back up to standing, releasing the thumbs. And then spreading feet nice and wide, turning toes out. We're gonna come into our Malasana. So if you're feeling any of that pelvic pain, like pubic symphysis pain in the front, you may wanna modify your Malasana. I'll tell you, you're just gonna stay lifted a little bit, but I'll go through that when we get into it. So inhale, circle the arms down, around, and up. And as you exhale, bringing hands to heart center, coming into Malasana. So you may stay up here, or coming all the way down into Malasana if it feels good for you. Always an option to support yourself with a block or a pillow or blanket underneath the sacrum, the sitting bones. And if you are all the way down here, sealing the outer edge of the feet to the mat, pressing thumb into breastbone, breastbone into thumb, so you can broaden the chest, open up the shoulders here. One more breath. All right, walk the hands forward, finding tabletop, hands and knees. Maybe wagging the tail one more time. All right, let's extend that right foot to the back of the mat yet again. This time we're gonna open up to the right. So left hand stays grounded, right hand overhead, coming into side plank. Lots of options here. So arm can stay extended overhead, can come to the hip, or maybe bringing the right arm towards the right ear. Gaze is up, out, or down. Hugging in around baby, tailbone is tucked. And then you can stay here or start to lift that foot up if that feels appropriate for you today. Wherever you are, aware that you're breathing in and aware that you're breathing out. Reaching the fingertips away from you if they're lifted. Feeling the side opening. One more breath here. If the foot is lifted, bring it down. And then start to rise up, so pushing the left hand away from the floor to lift the chest. We're gonna come into gate pose. So from here, we're gonna walk the right arm down the right leg, and then extend the left arm overhead, finding that side stretch. Good, tucking tailbone under, anchoring the tailbone down and hugging around baby here. Gaze is up, out, or down. And maybe it feels good to bring the right ear to the right shoulder here. Really let it relax. Let the left side fully open up. We hold so much tension in our neck and shoulders, and sleeping on the side can really exacerbate all of that. So just let it relax, let it go. All right, start to cartwheel your hands, meet them at the front of your mat, move back into tabletop. Inhale, cow tilt. Exhale, cat tilt. Inhale, neutral spine. And exhale, extend that left leg to the back of the mat, open up to the other side. So right hand stays planted this time, left arm overhead. Side plank. Move my blocks out of the way here. All right, same options as the other side. Arm can be extended up overhead, or maybe bring it to the ear, or hand to hip. Foot can stay grounded, or you can start to lift it up, hugging around baby. Gaze is up, out, or down. One more breath here. If the foot is lifted, ground it down, and then press the right hand away from the floor to rise up, gate pose. So left arm extends down the length of the left leg, and then right arm extends overhead, anchoring the tailbone down. Gaze can be up, out, or down, or maybe dropping that left ear to left shoulder. Really letting the right side of the neck relax and soften. Where can you let go? Cartwheel the arms, meet them at the top of your mat, and into tabletop, and then when you're ready, lifting up downward facing dog. Tucking the toes, lifting the hips. Taking 2 breaths here. All right, start to walk the hands to the back of the mat, finding your forward fold, your fit. And this is ever changing as baby and body grows. Forward fold may look different day to day, week to week. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hug around baby, hands to hips. Inhale, rising up to stand. Exhale, firm the thighs, anchor the tailbone down. Inhale, circle the arms down, around, and up overhead. And exhale, hands down the midline, bringing the hands to your baby space, taking 3 breaths here. All right, the eyes are closed, gently blink them open. We're gonna come into our Shakti Squats. So if you have a yoga block nearby, now's a great time to grab it. If you have a strap or a scarf or a belt, something that you can tie around the outside of the thighs, have that nearby too. You can do these without props, but I'm gonna just offer some of those props as supports to, for some of the discomforts you may be having. So if you do have a block or even a thick blanket that you can fold up and place in between the thighs, grab it. All right, now face you. So you want your feet about hips width distance apart and enough to, you don't want the block to be too big or whatever you're placing there to be too big, because you really want to be able to squeeze in around it. So really get that feedback. All right. And as we come into our chair squats, as we inhale, we're going to sit back, let the pelvic floor relax, fill up the lungs. Then as we exhale, coming up, and pelvic floor is going to come in and up, 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 up. So we're activating Mula Bandha. All right, so we're going to do about 5 to 7 here, and then I'll show you with the strap. This is great. Using the block and squeezing in is great if you're having that pubic symphysis pain in the front of the pelvis. All right, let's get started. So as we inhale, sitting back in the chair squat, and exhale, coming up, pulling pelvic floor in and up. Inhale, sit back. Exhale, coming up, squeezing that block. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, allowing the pelvic floor to relax. Exhale, pulling in and up, 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 up. Let's do 2 more here. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. All right. If that felt great, stay here with the block or the squeezing in, but I'm going to show with the strap as well. This can be really helpful if you're having that SI low back pain. So grabbing your strap and placing it around the outside of your thighs. Strap, dog leash, scarf. Mine got a little tangled for my little one likes to play with this. So you want the strap to be about the width of your hips. Sorry for the delay here. There we go. All right. So whatever you have, even a scarf, something that you can tie around. And you want, because these straps and scarves and such can have a little give, you want it kind of tight. About hips width distance, but I always like to start tight because it ends up loosening. All right, so same thing. We're gonna go into those Shakti squats, but this time pressing out. And again, this can be really helpful for some of that sacrum and low back pain. And let's go ahead. So inhale, sitting back. Exhale, coming up, pressing the outer thighs out, out, out. Inhale. Exhale. Activating Mula Bandha, pelvic floor in and up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, hug around baby. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to do 2 more here. Inhale. Strong mamas. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. All right. Unclip your strap, remove any props out of your way. And then we're going to come to the center of the mat. You can face the long edge of your mat. And start to heel toe your feet out. We want to come to a wide stance about a leg's length apart. And we're going to turn the right toes to the front of the mat, left toes at about a 45-degree angle. So kind of angled towards the corner here. I'm going to come a little bit wider. If you're noticing that you're feeling any pressure or pelvic pain, maybe bring the feet in a little bit closer. All right, so inhale, reverse your triangle. So left arm down the left leg, right arm overhead. And as you exhale, we're gonna come into triangle pose. So, and I should have mentioned, grab a block or something to bring the hand up, I apologize. So I like to bring a block behind the foot. Again, anything that you can prop your hand up on, or you can bring the hand all the way to the floor if that feels good. Sometimes that can be a little bit too much pressure down low. All right, I want you to bring your left hand to the sacrum, so the low back, and press the low back into the hand, and almost like you're kind of tilting this left hip forward slightly, so that the inner thigh, the left inner thigh, is rotating in. Yeah, making space for your bump in the inside of the right leg. And then you can stay here if you need that hand at the hip, or you can start to bring that hand overhead and look towards the left hand. Yeah, pressing the feet into the floor, nice and strong here. And again, if you're feeling any discomfort, any pelvic pain, any pressure, maybe bringing the feet in towards each other, or maybe propping the hand up a little bit higher so you're not inverted as much. Continuing to twist open here. So imagining the right side of the ribs are kind of coming up towards the ceiling. Yeah. One more breath here. Feeling the strength in the thighs, supporting the pelvis. All right, from here, if you have your block, taking it with you, putting it about 2 feet in front of that right leg, and we're gonna come into half moon. So start to walk this back leg forward, and then when you're ready, letting that back foot fly, coming up into half moon. Now this is also a great posture to do at the wall, especially third trimester mamas, coming up to a wall so you can lean your hips and your shoulders and your head flat against the wall and feel the support behind you. So that's a great option here. You can keep that hand at the hips or extend that arm overhead, finding balance and strength here. Gazing down at the hand, or if you want to look up at the other hand, can be a little test of balance there. Wherever you are, hugging around, maybe pressing, grounding into that right leg. One more breath here. Let's start to come into warrior two. So bend that right knee, that standing knee, and then come into that wide stance. So bring the left leg back, warrior two. So bend in the right knee, left leg straight. Beautiful. Arms nice and strong, shoulders away from the ears. Let's flow a little bit. As you inhale, bring the arms up overhead, straighten the front knee. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, warrior two, looking out over the right fingertips. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale. And exhale. All right, from here, straighten that leg. We're gonna switch to the opposite side. So turning the left toes to the back of the mat and the right toes at that 45-degree angle. Good. And again, adjusting any length in between or any distance between the feet if necessary. All right, as you inhale, come into reverse triangle. So right hand down the right leg, left arm overhead. And then exhale, cartwheel the arms coming into triangle. And keep forgetting to bring my block with me. So bringing that with you if you need that support. Bringing that right hand to the sacrum, so flat against the low back. Press the low back into the hand. And then again, we want to kind of bring the right hip crease forward a bit and internally rotate that right leg. If you need a micro bend in that front knee or even a greater bend, feel free. Again, hand can be on the ground or at a block or any kind of support that you have. And then when you're ready, you can start to peel the right hand up overhead. Again, peeling the left ribs now up towards the ceiling. Continuing to Press the sacrum out, almost like you still have your hand there. We don't want the hips stacked right on top of one another. It kind of cinches the sideways there. So that's why we want to bring that right hip crease forward a bit. Yeah. Aware that you're breathing in and aware that you're breathing out. Pressing the feet into the floor beneath you, feeling strength here, supporting the pelvis. All right, gazing down at the hand. If you have a block with you, bring it with you. If you want to go over to a wall for half moon, feel free. But bringing that block about 2 feet ahead of you and start to walk the right foot in, and then letting that foot fly when you're ready, half moon. Hand can stay at the hip, or you can start to bring it up, extending it up overhead. Gazing down at the hand, or maybe bringing it up overhead, bringing the gaze up overhead. And again, you can always do this at the wall, feeling the support behind you as you lean the hips, the shoulders, and the back of the head into the wall. It's hard to stay balanced when I'm talking, so I will be quiet. Continuing to breathe here. One more breath. And then bend that left knee, coming out to that wide stance, warrior two. Bend in the left knee, right leg is straight, arms nice and strong, but finding a balance of strength and softening here. All right, let's slow. Inhale, rising up, arms overhead, straighten that front knee. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, gathering up all the strength and energy that belongs to you. And exhale, releasing anything that does not. One more, inhale. And exhale. Beautiful, straighten that leg, relax the arms. You can turn the 10 toes to face that long edge of the mat. I'm just gonna check the time real quick. Perfect, okay. So keeping the legs nice and wide. If you have blocks, grab them. If not, no worries. I'm just gonna place them in front of me. And this can be helpful to kind of bring the floor a little bit closer to you. If you don't have blocks, that's okay. You can always just keep a bend in the knee if you're feeling like you want to be a little bit closer to the ground, but you don't have block support. All right, so from here, bringing the hands to the hips, bring a bend to the knee and start to fold forward, leading with baby and chest. So if I turn to the side here, you'll see that I'm not rounding the spine over. I'm leading with baby, with chest, keeping the tailbone untucked and lifted. All right, so coming forward here, keeping the knees as bent as you need. And then if you'd like, you can start to walk the hands forward to the floor or to blocks, having them out as wide as you need. Yeah, and staying here for a moment, maybe rocking the hips side to side. Again, untucking the tailbone here. Maybe dropping the head, looking back if that's accessible to you. Making space for a baby, so bringing the feet as wide as you need. Heel toeing out more if you need. Allowing this inversion, this gentle inversion to kind of counteract all of the work that gravity takes, all of the toll that gravity takes on our neck. allowing it to relax, maybe shaking it yes and no. You can keep the knees bent, or if you'd like to straighten them more, you can. And then you can stay here or start to walk the hands underneath, and we're going to walk the hands to the right foot. So maybe grabbing at the ankles or bringing the hands to the floor close by your foot. And try to come in almost like you want to kiss your shin. Maybe you're able to, maybe not. But that's where we want to kind of pull the body into. Keeping the eyes open for balance here. I really love coming to the right side and really walking that left hand as hard as I can to feel that nice stretch on the left side. One more breath here. And then walk the hands to the center. And if this isn't feeling good, you can always just stay where it does feel good. So maybe staying in the center. And then let's walk the hands to the left side if you choose. Same as the other side. Want to come in, try to kiss the shin. Again, no worries if you're not able, but just bringing the torso in towards the left. Feeling that nice stretch. One more breath here. And then walk the hands back to center. All right, if you have a block, maybe bring it in. If not, just bring both hands in front of you. So shoulders should be stacked over the wrists here. If you need to lean forward a bit, please do so. And again, a block can be helpful, or hands to the floor. And we're going to kind of swim the arm up. So right arm is going to swim up overhead, extend it up, look at the hand. And then we're going to swim it forward, almost like we're doing a swimming stroke. And then the other side, inhale, left arm overhead. Exhale, bringing the arm forward. And we're going to keep doing that. Inhale, up. Exhale, swim it forward. Inhale, up, overhead. Exhale, forward. Keep moving with your own breath. Let's do this a couple more times. If you feel yourself sinking back into your hips, just coming forward again so the shoulders are stacked over the wrists. Let's do one more on each side. All right, once you've evened yourself out, you can bring the hands to the hips, maybe bend the knees again, and then start to come on up to stand. Yeah, take a moment, just heel toe the feet in. All right, let's meet at the back of the mat. Bringing the feet out nice and wide, turning the toes out. And we're going to come down into Malasana. So inhale, circle the arms down, around and up. And as you exhale, hands through the midline. Again, you can stay in modified Malasana up high or come all the way down, full Malasana. Yogi Squat. Chest is lifted. Using elbows and arms as leverage against the knees, against the inner edge of the legs to open up here. Always, you can find support from a block or a pillow or blanket underneath the sitting bones. All right, let's start to walk the hands forward. Coming into a tabletop position here. And we're going to come actually to seated. So just finding your way into a wide angle. So bringing the legs to a V. Does not have to be your widest straddle here. Actually, it should be maybe like 75%. All right. And so from here, and actually I'm going to grab a blanket if you'd like, if you prefer to sit on a blanket, feel free to bring it. And then when you come into the straddle, just bend the knees. So heels against the ground, toes pointed up, and start to untuck the tailbone. So you may need to adjust, like bringing the hands down and just kind of lifting up. So like you're leaning forward, the pelvic bowl is kind of forward tilting, forward leaning. Yeah, all right. And then we're gonna start to walk the hands forward here. So again, we're gonna lead from the belly and chest. And then if you'd like, you can start to straighten the legs, or you can keep them bent if that feels good. You don't need to come all the way down, wherever is feeling comfortable. And again, we don't want to come into too wide of a straddle. That relaxin hormone can really loosen us up a little too much and can cause some strain if we kind of take our stretching too far. So just be conscious and aware of that. From here, we're going to do some Mula Bandha. So we were doing some pelvic floor work in our Shakti Squats. And when we come into the straddle, it kind of helps us, with our pelvic floor, the sits bones against the ground, we can kind of feel that feedback a little bit more. So as you inhale, I want you to fill up the lungs and let the pelvic floor relax. You can start to feel the pelvic floor kind of stamp on the ground. And then as you exhale, hug around baby, and then activate, pulling in the pelvic floor, in and up, 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 up. Inhale, relax the pelvic floor. And exhale, hug around baby. Inhale. Exhale. One more, inhale. Exhale. All right, start to walk the hands back in, lifting the chest. We're gonna come down to our backs. In order to do that, and this is just general rule of thumb during pregnancy, always wanting to kind of mitigate some of that abdominal pressure by coming to our sides first and then rolling onto the back. Bring with you a block or two if you have it. All right, so we're gonna come into bridge pose. So bringing the feet flat on the ground, about hips width distance, close to the sitting bones. I'm gonna grab a block for in between the legs, kind of like we had in our squats. And if you have a second block or a blanket that you can fold up, maybe you want it for underneath the sacrum for supportive bridge. You can also use a strap here, just like we did in the squat. So if you prefer the strap, you can put that around the legs. So from here, we're going to lift the hips, coming into bridge pose. So pressing the feet down into the floor, into the mat. And so we can lift the hips up. Yeah. So elongate the neck here, looking straight up. Pressing the feet into the mat so we can lift up, up, up. We can find strength here, strength in the thighs, strength in the glutes. And if you'd like to come into a greater chest opener, maybe walking the hands underneath to interlace. underneath of you, rolling the shoulder blades under. You have that block in between the legs, squeezing in, activating adduction. If you have the strap, pressing the thighs out for AB, abduction. Wherever you are, continuing to breathe, continuing to press the hips up. 2 more breaths here. Good. If you have your fingers interlaced, just gently release them. Start to roll down the spine, allowing each vertebrae to make contact with the earth. Allowing the last thing to come down is the sacrum. All right, removing any props that you may have. And we're going to come into a figure 4 stretch. This will be our last posture before we come into our final rest. So from here, this is the same, we're coming into the same kind of posture that we would in pigeon. This is just a little bit more low impact. All right, so we want to bring the right foot in, the right ankle to meet our left thigh. You can stay here if this is enough for you and the hip flexors and the outer hip. If you want something more, start to reach for the left leg and hug it in towards the chest. A strap can also be really great here if you want to hook the strap around to pull. And so you should be feeling this in the outer right hip if the right leg is in that figure 4. Yeah, so a little bit more or a little less impact than pigeon. Pigeon can feel really intense and sometimes can bring us some discomfort in the pubic symphysis. So this is a great option for you if pigeon seems to be too much. That being said, though, pigeon is wonderful. We usually get into that in practice, just not today. As you exhale, maybe pulling in a little bit more. All right, start to release. So if that left foot is lifted, bringing it back down. And then right foot is removed. So both feet are down. Maybe windshield wiper the knees side to side before we go into the next side. Releasing the low back. And then when you're ready, coming to stillness. And then doing the other side. So left ankle can come to the top of the right thigh. Staying here if this feels good and enough for you. If you would like some more, if you need some more stretch on that outer left hip, grabbing the right thigh and hugging in towards the chest. Noticing the back, so bringing your attention to the back and making sure that it is sealed with the mat. So low back is sealed towards the mat. Feeling the stretch in the outer left hip here. And with each exhale, maybe pulling in a little bit more. Taking 2 more breaths here. And gently releasing the right foot back down to the mat if it's not already. And then taking a moment to windshield wiper the knees side to side. All right. When you're ready, we're going to come into our final relaxation. Lots of options here for your final rest. Often lying right on our backs is not ideal. If you are still comfortable lying on your back, maybe supporting a pillow underneath your legs. Left side lying is a great option. So if you have that blanket or blocks or bolsters, cushions to prop in between the knees, or to rest on, almost like you're lying on a pregnancy pillow in bed. You can always come into legs up the wall, so bringing the sitting bones up towards the wall, and then you can bring the legs up, like the back of the legs rest on the wall. It can feel very lovely. And then you can also, using couch cushions, pillows, kind of making a reclined Shavasana here. So propping a cushion on top of a pillow or a block. Coming into a reclined position, maybe in Supta Baddha Konasana, so feet together, knees wide. So finding your comfortable final resting pose. Allowing the breath to begin to return to its natural rhythm. Maybe noticing as the body begins to downshift this evening and as movement starts to become slower, maybe feeling some kicks and movement from baby. Maybe taking the time to bring hands to your baby space. Connect during this final rest. Allowing yourself to come into stillness here, sink into stillness. As your body drinks in all of the benefits from your practice this evening. So continuing to rest here at the end of each practice. I like to pull a card from a goddess deck to just take in any wisdom that the card may offer. And so tonight's card that was pulled is Freya, a Nordic earth goddess of fertility, celebration, and passage. Freya rides in a chariot pulled by mighty cats across the rainbow bridge connecting heaven and earth. Freya teaches us to appreciate our attractiveness and to enjoy ourselves. No wonder then that the day of the week, Friday, was named in her honor, since this day is associated with the end of the work week and time for celebration. A message from Freya. Don't play it safe right now. Instead, take bold action in the direction of your true heart's desire. Success comes not from timidity, but from committing yourself fully to realizing your dream. Hold the clear intention of success, and it shall come about. Enjoy the excitement of taking risks, of being bold, and of being daring. And be sure to celebrate your success. Unleash your adventurous side and take risks. Be daring. This card is interesting to pull in the times that we're living in the middle of a pandemic. I like to take that as, being bold and radical self-care can be a way to interpret that card. Being bold in your boundaries, taking care of your needs, the needs of your baby. Start to bring your awareness back into your body, back into your space. As you introduce movement to your fingers and toes. Wherever you are, coming to the left side of your body, keeping eyes closed and pausing for a moment, a breath or two, before finding your way into a comfortable seated position. One hand at your baby's face and one hand at your heart's face. And so as you arrive here, sitting up nice and tall, ending practice in gratitude for yourself, for making time for this nourishment of your body, mind, spirit, connection to baby. Gratitude for this growing life inside of you. Gratitude for all of the things that you do each and every day to care for and nourish your baby. Gratitude for one another, for sharing space, this virtual space here this evening. And I extend my gratitude to you all for allowing me to guide you through this practice. Taking a deep inhale, circling the arms down, around, and up. And as you exhale, bringing your hands to your third eye center, hands, palms together. Keep peace in your mind, strength in your body, and love in your heart. Until next time, be well and take care of yourself.